Hello everyone. In this PowerPoint we will talk about how to ask questions. Of course this PowerPoint reflects one of the topics that you have to learn in Unit 3. Unit 3 in the book is entitled How Do I Buy Tickets? Or How Do I Buy a Ticket? Okay, whatever. Okay, so I didn't give the same title of Unit 3 to this PowerPoint because I just wanted to make it different somehow. It is different from the previous and following, PowerPoints. But all in all, in this unit, how do I buy a ticket? You have to learn three things. First of all, how to ask for information. And if you want to ask for information, in this case, you have to know how to ask about the questions. Okay? How to make a questions. And second, you have to know how to read certain numbers in English. And third, how to make questions. Okay? How to ask about one thing or another. How to ask about one thing or another. This is okay. This is also as a type of a type of making questions. Okay. So this is all about the introduction of Unit 3. In the second slide, we will start directly with the main idea, which is what? WH questions. Actually, because if you want to make a question, you have to know that there should be auxiliary verbs. And auxiliary verbs in English are of three types. Okay, we have verb to have, verb to do, verb to be. Three types. But we have rules in English that you have to know, okay, when you want to make a question. If you just, pay attention to the first sentence. Ali visits Rami every week. I want you to ask about Ali. I want you to ask about the subject. In this case, you have to know something. If you want to ask about the subject and the verb is simple present tense or it is in the simple tense, whether it is present or past, okay, you don't have to use auxiliary verbs. This is one of the rules that you have to know. Usually, if you want to make a question, you have to make what? You have to use auxiliary verbs. But if you are asking about the subject and the verb is in its simple tense, okay, form, in this case you don't have to use any auxiliary verb. You directly say, who visits Rami every week? See, here we have Ali the subject, okay, and visits is the verb. The verb is what? Simple present tense. And you want to ask about Ali, there is no need to use what? Auxiliary verb, because I'm asking about the subject and the verb is in its simple form. Okay, so I say, who visits Rami every week? Okay, now look at the second sentence. Ali visits Rami every week. Ask about action. Here by action I mean what? The verb. Okay, the verb. So I want to ask about the things that Ali does. So here I have to use, if I want to ask about any of the sentences component, I have to use what? Auxiliary verbs. Okay, so or an auxiliary verb, sorry, one, it's only one. So here look at the verb. The verb is what? Visit, simple present tense. If the verb is a main verb and it is in its simple form, you have to use the auxiliary verb do. Do is the mother, and this verb has, three children. It has do, it has does, and it has what? Did. Here the verb is what? Simple present tense. So I have to use what? Does, not do, because the verb has third person singular, the S of third person singular. So if I want to ask about action, I have to use what? What, not who. Who is if you are asking about the person. What about something. So I say, what does Ali do every week? Okay, why I use what? Because I'm asking about something, not about a person. Why I use does? Okay, does, because the verb, the main verb, okay, is what? Is simple present tense. You shouldn't say, what does Ali visit? No, you have to say, what does Ali do? Because I'm asking about the thing that Ali has, does, or has already, done. Okay, So I'm asking about the thing that Ali does. Okay, so I have to ask. To use the verb do. I say, what does Ali do? Does here is an auxiliary verb, and why I didn't use do, because I have the verb. The main verb is what is in its simple form, and it has s of third person singular because I have Ali. So if the verb is a main verb and it is simple, okay, and it is what simple and present in its present form, I have to use does. Look at the third example. Ali visits Rami every week. Ask about Rami. Okay, here we have what? Person. I shouldn't use what or which or when or whatever. I have to use either who or whom. Grammatical speaking, we have to use whom, because whom is, Rami represents the object. Ali visits Rami, the object. But it's okay, I put the M in between two brackets because here it means you can use both. Both are correct. You use who or whom. Usually we use whom if we are asking about what? The object. But it is not wrong to use who, because who is used in both cases. So here I have Rami. I have to use who or whom. Okay. Look at the verb. The verb is what? Simple present tense. So I have to use what? Is there any other auxiliary verb inside this sentence? No. I have only main verb. Only the main verb. So I have to use what? Verb to do. What type of verb to do? Does. Why? Because the main verb has s of third person singular. So I say, who or whom does Ali visit every week? See? Now let's go to the third slide. Here we have another sentence. Ali visits Rami every week. Ask about times. Okay, how many times? So I have to use how often. I'm not asking about the times. How many times he visits Rami every week? So I have to use what? How often. After how often comes what? Comes the auxiliary verb. What type of auxiliary verb do I have to use? I have to use verb to do. Why I have to use verb to do? Because I have only one verb in the sentence. In this main sentence I have only one verb. Visits is the main verb. I don't have two verbs. Okay, only one verb. So in this case, if your sentence consists of only one verb and it is a main verb, okay, in this case you have to use verb to do. And what type of verb to do? It's supposed to be what? Does. Why does? Because you have visits. Of course, when I say the sentence consists of only one verb, the verb should be main, okay, and it shouldn't be verb to be, because sometimes we use verb to be as a main verb or verb to have as a main verb. It should be main verb, and it shouldn't be one of the other, let's say, verbs, be or have. Okay, because these two verbs have, let's say, their certain or their specific rules. Now pay attention. I want you to ask about what? Every week. So what WH question, okay, should I use in order to ask about the times? How often? After the WH question comes what? Comes the auxiliary verb. If you notice here, in all the, let's say, in all the WH questions, we have what? After the WH question comes what? Comes the auxiliary verb, except the first case, because you are asking about the subject, as we said. So here we say, how often does Ali, okay, visits Rami? Visit Rami. I don't say does visits. Visit Rami. Why? Because I have does. So after the WH question directly comes the auxiliary verb. The auxiliary verb comes, you have to formulate, by taking into consideration what? The main verb. The main verb is simple present tense. So I have to use verb to do. What type of verb to do? Does, because it's what? The verb is what in its, let's say it has, the verb has third person singular, s of third person singular. So I said does, then I have Ali visit Rami. How often does Ali visit Rami? Ali visits Rami every week at 7 p.m. Ask about time. Here I have to use what? When. Because I'm asking about time. After the WH question comes what? Comes the auxiliary verb. What type of auxiliary verb do I have to use? Does. Why? Because I have the main verb. The main verb in its simple form. Okay, and what type of simple form? Simple present form. So I have to use verb to do, and exactly which one? Does. When does Ali visit Rami every week? We say at 7 o'clock. Ali visits Rami, every week at 7 o'clock. See? In the last example also we have what? Ali visits Rami at home. Ask about place, home. I have to use what? Which WH question? Where? Okay, so here we have what? Where. Again, after the WH question comes what? Comes the auxiliary verb. Where does Ali visit Rami? Does. Why I use does? Because the main verb is what? Simple present tense. So I have to use verb to do, and particularly does. Okay? Yes. Here we have a note, okay, to be taken into account, guys. When making questions, as I told you, we need to use what? Auxiliary verbs, or an auxiliary verb. We need only one verb. And auxiliary verbs in English are of 4 types. We have verb to do, verb to have, verb to be, and the modals as well. Modal verbs. Let's start with verb to do. This auxiliary is used when the main verb is simple. See, when your main verb is in its simple form, we use verb to do. It has 2 forms, do and does in the present, of course, and has did, okay, when it is what? In the past. The main verb with these 3 auxiliary is always infinitive without to. Okay, so if you use does, okay, after does, after do, after did, whatever, okay, all the main verb should come what? Should be in what? In the infinitive form, which means it doesn't have any s. See here, when does Ali visit? Visit. So the verb should be what? In the infinitive form. When I say infinitive, because we have two types of, or 2 forms of infinitive in English. We have infinitive with to and infinitive without to. Here we have infinitive without to. Okay, this one basic verb. See, visit. After these auxiliary verbs, the main should be what? Should be in its simple form. This is what I meant by infinitive without to. Now, in verb to have, also we have what? 2 forms in the present tense. We have has and have, and in the past tense we have what? We have had. Okay, and usually the main verb is always in the past participle. The main verb, if you have has or have as an auxiliary verb, okay, was what have you, let's say, done? What have you done? Okay, here we have what? What have you done? Have is what? Have or has is the auxiliary verb, and the main should be what? Past participle. While the main verb or verb to do should be what? In its simple form. There is no even s, no any, let's say, suffixes to be added to it. It's infinitive without infinitive, basic form without to. Okay, with verb to have, if you have or has or had as auxiliary verbs, in this case the following verb should be what? Should be in its past participle tense. Now, verb to be, this verb has 5 forms. Okay, we finish with verb to do and have. Now we have be. Be has what? Has 5 forms. We have is, are, am, was, were. The choice depends on the subject, okay, of the sentence and the tense of the verb. So if you want to choose which one, I have to see the subject, whether it is singular or plural, okay, whether it is let's say first pronoun, or let's say second pronoun, or third. When I say third, means she, he, it. Second means you for singular and you for plural. If I say first person pronoun, it means I or we. Okay, so here it depends the usage. Which one do I have to use? It depends on what? On the subject and the form or the tense of the verb. The main verb is always in the ing form. After is, are, am comes what? And if you have another verb after is, are, am, and you have another verb, this verb should be what? In the ing form. Okay. Now, in slide 8, here here we have what? If you are asking about the subject, there is no need to use an auxiliary verb. I told you at the beginning. If you are asking about, let's say, the subject, Ali, let's say, breaks the window. Okay, Ali breaks the window. If I say, who breaks the window? So I don't have to use what? Auxiliary verb. Ali broke the window. Who broke the window? Okay, so I don't have here to use what? Auxiliary verb, because I'm asking about the subject. Only when you are asking, when you ask about the subject, you don't have to use what? You don't have to use verbs. So just pay attention. Ali opens the door every day. Who opens the door every day? See, there is no auxiliary verb because I'm asking about the subject. So I have to use what? Subject is here. We have what? We have person. Okay, animate. So I have to use what? Who. And after the WH question comes directly the verb. There is no auxiliary verb. Only when you are asking about what? Only when you are asking about the subject. Here, Ali opened the door every day. Who played? Or who played? Yes, it's supposed to be here. Who opened the door every day? I'm gonna change this one. Who opened? Okay, the door every day. Okay, yes. See, opened, whether it is present simple or past simple, both of them, okay, come. These two verbs come directly after the WH questions. Why I use here simple present, let's say simple past tense? Because it's the main verb as it is. So the verb should be used as it is when you are asking about the subject, and when the main verb is what? In its simple form. However, if the main sentence has an auxiliary verb, see, in all these sentences, okay, there is only one verb: opens, opened. Okay, only one verb in the sentence. If let's say here we have your sentence, your main sentence, original sentence has an auxiliary verb. That auxiliary verb will come after the WH question. For instance, Ahmed was playing tennis yesterday. Who? I want to ask about Ahmed. I say who because Ahmed is a person. I use who. I said after, if I'm asking about the subject, I shouldn't use what? Auxiliary verb. When the main sentence doesn't have, let's say, an auxiliary verb. Here in the main sentence, I have auxiliary verb and what? Main verb. So if I want to make a question, I use WH question, and this WH question is followed by what? By the auxiliary verb, because the original sentence consists of an auxiliary verb. So what is the use of using auxiliary verb? Auxiliary verb usually is used in order to make a questions, to make negation. Okay, if you want to make negation, and to also reflect aspects. Here we have what? ing aspect, continuous. Okay, so I say who was playing tennis. Why I use here an auxiliary verb and I'm asking about the subject? Because the main sentence consists of what? The verb consists of two parts: auxiliary verb plus the main verb. In the previous sentences, the original sentence consists of only one verb: opens. So I use it as it is. Here you have what? The original sentence was playing. So I use was playing again as they are. Okay, but it's supposed to be what? Preceded by who? Who was playing tennis yesterday? Now, if you are asking about the subject, there is no need to use an auxiliary verb, especially when there is no auxiliary verb in the sentence. We already explained this one. Sorry. Now, how to make a questions more polite? How much is it? Look at these questions. How much is it? How far is it? When can I move in? Okay, when can I move in? How many bedrooms are there? These are what? 4 questions. These are direct questions, and usually we said if you are using direct question, then you sound a little bit impolite. You have to make your question indirect. So how to change the direct question, the impolite question, into what? or the less polite questions into more polite questions. So here, look at the first one. How much is it? If I wanted to make it polite, in this case I have to say, I was just wondering how much it is. See, this question is no more a question, it is now a statement, because it ends with what? With a full stop. But it functions as what? As a question. I was just wondering how much it is. So if you use this expression, I was just wondering, okay, then you have to what? To turn the verb. The subject should come or should precede the verb. Here, when it is a question, usually the auxiliary verb, or here we have the main and auxiliary verb at the same time, comes before the subject because it's a question. Okay, but here if you use this expression, you have to turn the question into what? Into a statement. But this statement functions as a question. So you say, for instance, I was just wondering how much it is. Not is it, it is. Okay, here we have how far is it. You say, I was just wondering how far it is. See, how far is it? Because a question, verb comes before the subject. But in a sentence, the subject comes before the verb. I was just wondering how far it is. Here we have, when can I move in? Okay, I was just wondering where. Okay, here we have when, because the original sentence consists of when. Okay, I was just wondering when I can move in. See, I can move in, not can I can. Here, how many bedrooms are there? I was just wondering how many bedrooms there are. Okay, and we have what? Full stop. So pay attention please, guys. If you want to change the direct questions into indirect one, from the let's say less polite into more polite, you have to pay attention to the, let's say, subject and the verb. Okay, the subject should precede the verb, because the question is no more a question, it is a statement that functions as what? As a question. Now pay attention to this. Some WH questions are followed. You see, if in all the examples, the previously discussed examples, after the WH questions comes what? Comes the auxiliary verb. How far is it? When can I? How much is it? How much is? See, how many? Here we have no bedrooms are there. How many, let's say, bedrooms are there? Some of the, let's say, majority of WH questions, after the WH questions comes what? Comes usually the auxiliary verb. Now pay attention. Here we have some WH questions are followed by a noun or an adjective. Then the verbs comes. Okay, as in, what color is it? Remember how many bedrooms? How many bedrooms? Okay, are there? So we have after the WH questions comes what? Color. What color is it? And then after the noun comes the verb. What size is your camera? Which distance is greater? How tall? Here we have an adjective. Okay, how tall is he? And how much money does it cost? How much? Okay, money. After the WH question, we have what? We have money. Does it cost? So after these nouns or adjective, then only then we find what? The verb. What type of movies do you like? Okay, what type and do you like? Which bag did you buy? Did you buy? See, majorly if you have WH questions, we have what? We have the auxiliary. The auxiliary verb comes directly after the WH question. But in certain cases, we have what? We have nouns, we have adjectives, and after these nouns and adjectives come what? Comes the verb. This is all about how to make a question. This is the first, let's say, part of unit 3, which is how do I buy a ticket or something like that. So as I told you, in this unit you have what? You have to focus on 3 things. First of all, how to ask for information, and if you want to ask about something, you have to know how to make questions. Okay, and how to not only how to make questions, how to make your questions polite, because if you are questioning in an impolite way, nobody is gonna answer you, right? So this is the first part of unit 3. Still we have what? 2 other parts: how to read numbers in English, and how to make, let's say, an alternative, let's say, question to ask about one thing or another. Yes, guys. So the other topic that you need to learn is that how to ask about one thing or another. Here we have two alternatives, two options in the same question. So look at the first one. Do I have to read here or there? I'm gonna skim the examples and read them very quickly for you, and then I'll explain one by one. Shall we buy tickets from this shop or that shop? Is she reading or writing? Do they have to play or read or to read? Okay. Or you can say even do they have to play or yes, or to read? Here we have do you think she is good or bad? Okay. In all of these examples, you can see there is a connector. Okay. The connector used here is what? Or. And if you see, we have two sides. Here we have here, there. This shop, that shop. Reading, writing. To play, to read. Good, bad. In both sides, here we have or in the middle, and we have two sides, left and right. The two sides should be what? Should be parallel. This means what? Here I have here. Here means what? Here is an adverb of a place. So if you have here an adverb of a place, here the other side you should have also an adverb of a place. This shop or that shop. Here we have noun of phrase, noun of phrase. Reading, writing. Here we have what? ing, ing. To play, to read. Infinitive with to, infinitive with to. Good, bad. Adjectives from both sides. So this is what I meant by alternative questions, asking about one thing or another. If I ask you to give me a sentence about let's say or ask about something or another, you have to remember that you have to use what? Or. Do you have to do it now or later on? Okay. So both sides, the two sides of or, the left and the right side, they should be what? Both of them should be what? Of equal. Carry the same nature. If it is an adjective, from both sides you should have an adjective. If it is, let's say, ing, from both sides you should have an ing. So this is the idea behind what? Asking about one thing or another. This is the second topic that you have to know in Unit 3. Now, the third thing that you have to learn in this unit is that how to read numbers in English. Look at these numbers. 250. I don't say 250. By the way, it's not wrong, but this is the British way. In American, they say 250, but the British say 250. Look at the second one. 2,500. Look at the third one. 5,250. Okay? And the last one, 1,000. 1,000. I don't say 1,000, though all of them are correct, but it's a matter of style. Now I want you just to pay attention to something. We usually use and with tenths. So I say, for instance, 210, 220, 230, 290. Okay? But if I have, let's say, the third one, okay? If I have the second one, 2,000, 2,000. Here I think the other way around, it's supposed to be 2,200. 5,200. Okay? 5,200. I didn't say and because I don't have tenth. Okay? Here we have tenth. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. With all these numbers, I use what? And. When I have let's say 100, I don't use and. Look at this one. 5,250. See? Because this 50 represents tenth. Okay? And if I have here 1,000, I say what? I say 1,000, or I can say 1,000. And as I told you, all of them are correct, but it's a matter of style. British prefer to use and American do not like to use and. The other topic that you have to learn, okay, in this PowerPoint is some vocabularies about travel. Here we have helicopter, then we have ferry. Let me just zoom in this image. This is the ferry. Okay, this is the ferry. I guess you know it. Okay, then we have what? We have tram. It's not a tram, it is tram. Okay, this is a tram. See, you can enlarge the enlarge the images later on when you receive the PowerPoint. Then we have hovercraft. See, hovercraft, something which is similar to the ferry, but it has a tube at the bottom. Okay, as you can see, this is a tube. Okay, and then we have motorbike. I think motorbike is easy. Okay, this is motorbike. And then they have the tube or the subway. This is the tube, or it is something which is similar to the tram, but tram is outside and this one is inside the building. Tube or the subway. And I guess here in your book it is mentioned that the word tube is used in the UK, while the subway is used where in the US. Here we have a train timetable, ticket machines, normal tickets, special tickets. We also have late night train services, train and bus connections, notes versus coins. This is for money. Ticket gate, get on the train. See, we use the verb get on. Arrive at a destination. Stay on the machine. How can I know how much money the ticket cost? You can say it will say on the machine. The ticket comes out of the machine. Okay, get discount. So all these vocabularies are available in your book. So in this PowerPoint, you've learned how to ask for information. Okay, and asking about information involves knowing how to make questions, and we said that questions can be done by using several verbs, several auxiliary verbs. First of all, we have verb to do, verb to have, verb to be, and I guess I didn't explain something about modal verbs. Again, we said after WH question we have the auxiliary verb. Whatever is the auxiliary verb. So here in the first example we have what? How will I know which road leads to that destination? How will I know? See, after the WH question comes what? The modal verb. How can they tell which machine works? Okay? How can they tell which machine works? And what should I do? See, after the WH questions, okay, or WH word, okay, we have what? We have the auxiliary verb. So auxiliaries can be what? Can be verb to be, verb to do, verb to have, or any modal verbs. Okay, so we finished with the question. Then we took what? We took some notes about how to read numbers, or how to ask about one thing or another, okay, by using, and here we said there's two sides of the connector, or should be parallel. And then we took how to read certain numbers in English, okay, and finally we talked about some vocabularies about the travel. All these pieces of information are available in your book. And this is the end. Thank you very much.